Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let me know you can hear me loud and clear in stream. So what do we have? Yet another inside day. It is literally like Groundhog Day, isn't it? If you look at the daily right now, printing another inside bar for now. All right, key levels I'm going to go over are coming off the hourly chart right now. Good morning, Jeff. Morning, Mindful Matters. John, Vil, Eva, Michael. Good morning, everyone. All right, so we're still printing an inside bar on this daily chart, but if we look at the H1, those of you who were in stream this morning will know what we're looking for in the room. All right, so we held this gray box. This was key level. If you look left, key resistance, all right, in early October, first, second, third. Resistance, 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 broke out, soaked above, broke beneath, gapped back up above it overnight, soaked above it, now driving into what? We're driving into the highs that we left yesterday, into yesterday's old point of control, which we've actually just popped through. You have relative strength today in the Qs, okay? That's because SMCI had a big order overnight, so all of tech, Nvidia, AMD, etc. started gapping up. Mag 7 all green right now, so relative strength in the Qs. ES has been lagging today. Same areas are going to be key on ES, right? That 780, we've talked about it over and over and over again. That as an area, we are now back testing that on the ES. On the Qs, the same thing. Can we get through this area right here for a drive up to come and take out 260, 270? All right, so really what we're looking at, if we look at this 5-minute chart, make sure you can see it. If we're going to protect overnight, the question is, are we going to do this move for a run up into 260? Or is this going to be supply, overhead supply that we fail? I prefer the short under here for a rotation back down. In this range, it can chop a lot, just like we saw on the opening 15-20 minutes this morning. So those are the sort of areas that I'm looking at. Moving over to a 1-minute chart, you can see we've had a nice grind up. Once we got out of this liquidity, which we built, once we broke out, we've come upside now. So we're a bit extended for me from these flow zones, and we're coming into that supply that we just talked about. So I'm going to wait to see if the market offers something here. Do we offer some sort of rejection to trade back down into 100s, and then a break below, let's call it a break below 70, and then 50 opens the gate for a move back to these overnight lows into 900s, the low 900s. All the time we're printing higher though, we're expecting the market to move up here. This is previous day open, previous day high, and you have a gap fill for the new week opening gap up here. So highly probable it's going to do that. Right now it's just in complete squeeze mode, so unless you got this beautiful move here, all right, there's nothing to do right now. You're late to the party. It happened very, very quickly. It chopped and chopped and chopped. Once it made that move, that was it. Catching up with the stream. Good morning, Bart, Tomac, Marek, Unknown Caller, Array, Minix. Good morning all. So hopefully clear on what we're currently looking at. VIX as well. Okay, VIX just filled its overnight gap, trading at 2160. We still have that huge gap below 20.60 on the VIX. So if the VIX is going to get really heavy, close that gap, the market can scream upside, right? It can absolutely scream upside today. So far a good push out the gate. Had to build that liquidity this morning, coming into some of those key levels. These are the same levels we've been talking about for the last few days. So we've cleared out this first level of supply into 20,190. That was from yesterday's morning initial balance high. If we can get through that, we're going to target yesterday's London high, which would be 20,220 odd, and then that Asia high of 20,265 from yesterday. Okay, these are the gap highs. So potential for a big move up there. We're a little extended for me to be participating as a bull right now, right? Little extended from these levels here. So I'm just going to be patient and wait. Good morning, Stephen. All right, good morning, everyone. You'll notice Nightbot now will be printing about TRADEIFY. Okay, so we now have a deal with TRADEIFY. If you hit that link, between 40 and 55% off. You can go straight to funded accounts. no evaluation, or you can do the evaluation phase. No rules like DCA or anything like that. Really like it. Platform built by traders for traders, so worth checking out if you're looking at getting into the prop firms. A great new prop firm worth checking out. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, Jen. Yeah, I missed that trade as well. It's very typical that at the moment that happened just before I came on stream. So I was talking to the chat, and as soon as I open OBS, we start moving up, and I don't want to get FOMO and start chasing in here. So it's screaming upside without me, so be it. You have to see if it will come back down into sort of 21.68, maybe even beneath that. What you have to be careful of is if this is a clear out of supply to move lower. But so far it looks good. If you think about it on a slightly higher time frame, right, I drew it out in chat earlier, but can we do this sort of move here for the rotation up? What you don't want to see is a breakdown below and a retest down here if you're bullish. You want to see it build some liquidity in here for that move up. It needs to retrap for that move up. But looking good, looking very good. Ryan, you're in it. Very nice, my friend. Definitely one of the downfalls to streaming, moving between platforms, and seem to miss a few trades, but it's okay. Long day ahead. Those of you who would join me in chat yesterday, there wasn't much to trade yesterday, but if you were patient and waited around, a lot of what we talked about on chat started to develop. We got a nice bearish trend in the afternoon, and after it spent all morning trapping bulls, once it let go, those intraday bulls had to get out of that positions, and we had a beautiful stop run into new lows. So nice pump here, ES into that key level, all right, around that 5,780. It's been a key level for a number of days now, So the upside on the ES of that old high that we printed yesterday will be 788, 5,788. Might as well call it 90. So your initial balance high from yesterday. So momentum definitely to the upside. Definitely feels like a squeeze on the upside here as well. Coming into some overhead supply that we left yesterday on the SPY, on the ES, and the Qs. Qs pretty much through it, so Qs are going to come and test that Friday supply, it looks like. So waiting for a pullback, maybe a two-leg pullback, some form of trap. See if we can get involved for a bullish move to the upside. If it's going to roll over and show weakness, we'll wait for that to present itself. Can always take a rotation back down. Still have another 25 minutes until the initial balance is set. Nice, Ryan, locking in some profit. Pretty thin on this squeeze up. I would like a move to rebalance some of this, but if it's caught enough of them early on, it might not need to. But a move down into here would be nice, something like that. But it might not need to if it's caught enough bears early on. Don't want to just get long here for the sake of it. Lots of overhead supply right here across the indexes. I'm just going to be patient. There we go, starting to pull back a little bit. So the question is supply going to hold up? Is this going to be the start of sellers coming back in as we're approaching the top of that range on the daily? If you look at the last two candles on the daily, if you look at Monday and Friday, and then you look at that block on the daily back in Monday the 30th of September as well. So these levels right here. Are we going to reject these levels, or can we pivot above this block right here? Okay, so are we going to roll back down? This is the question. I would only be short if we break down from here, really, or can we get above for that rotation back up? Remember what we talked about, the relationship between the top and lower Bollinger and this 20-day moving average, which we came and tapped overnight. We talked about it on stream yesterday. No real structure here until we move back down for a back test, at least on the 5-minute. I'd like something deeper. I'm interested in this area here and this area back here. Doesn't mean I'm interested in it tapping those. I'm interested in how it reacts at those areas currently. If it's just going to flag and go, so be it. It's probably going to go without me if it's going to do that. But so far, momentum clouds are holding it up very nicely. Have to be cautious because it definitely did a big squeeze this morning. All right, that move from, might as well call it 100 to 200 is a 100-point squeeze. There is not a lot of structure other than this tiny 1-minute pullback until all the way back down to here. There is a seller upside into 250. If you remember, we had a seller there all of yesterday morning when we were on stream of around 300 contracts. So 250, 260, 280 and 300. We have sellers stacking all the way up. All right, with decent size lots. 50 lot, then a 60 lot, then an 80 lot, then a 100 lot, and then another 75 lot all the way up 300. So they want the market to move up there. Question is, has it built enough liquidity to do it? Are there genuine buyers in this tape this morning, or was that squeeze out just short covering who are looking for a breakdown of these levels here but not letting it? I said to my stream I would consider a short if we broke down and got under these sort of levels for a rotation back down, but we never broke down, so there was no trade to take. Looking good for a continuation up here. So this flag potentially trying to play out. I would have preferred a 2-leg here. Flow zones have already offered 30 points on that dip into them. Remember, we're pro-trend bullish right now, right here. We are in a bullish momentum trend for now. Again, I would really like to see a deeper pullback here and repair some of this structure. Yes, doing the dance around that 780 area, all right? Just as a rough area, it's been a key area for a good few weeks now. We've talked about it on stream a lot. A pin close high today will be good for the market. The 5-day might be able to get a bounce off that 20-day. If we close weak today, I would not be surprised to see that 5-day cross beneath that 20-day, which you need to be very cautious about. All right, here we go. Maybe a 2-leg pullback here. Let me get a bit deeper here. Did we close that old gap? Let me just check on the QQQ. Not quite. So we're into the new week opening gap on the Qs. Haven't quite closed it. And we're not into it on the SPY cash yet. So that gap between Friday close, Monday open on the QQQ, we're trading in it. Just being patient here. Something will develop much like this morning. All right, you had to be patient for 20-30 minutes and then it gave you a nice trade. Same here, just being patient. Happy to join momentum once it proves itself to me. If it wants to go higher, that's fine. If it wants to roll over and start producing lower highs, lower lows for a rotation back down towards VWAP, higher time frame algo, lower time frame algo, 5-day moving average, that is absolutely fine with me as well. Plenty of room here, both sides, to get a nice trade. Just marking out some areas on the VIX here that we're starting to come into. See if we react here, or if we just start flushing through them. Nice and patient. It's doing what we talked about though. Remember, on a 5-minute chart, we were talking about, can it build out liquidity for this? Needs to use this liquidity. All right, so it needs to build out some liquidity for a potential move up. If it doesn't build any out, it can come right back to here where we came from. Right, so squeeze up, can fall straight back down if it is unable to build out liquidity, which is why I'm just cautious about entering along. I need to see it do something to give me some edge to get involved in this to the upside, because I've already missed out on 100 points. So what I don't want to do is buy the high of day if we're going to rotate. So ES is already coming back down to the equivalent of right down here. All right, ES is testing this structure that we broke out from. This is where ES is. It's already pulling right back to here. So again, relative strength on the Qs due to the semiconductors this morning. All right, NVIDIA is up. Make sure that's right. 3%, is that right? Let me have a look. Yeah, NVIDIA's up 3%. I'm sure AMD is strong, SMCI will be strong. Chinese ADRs got absolutely hammered last night on a gap down. So rotation from the ADRs back into tech. Here we go, deeper move. Starting to become more interested both sides of this trade now, if we can dig deeper. Nice reaction on the M5 on ES. We haven't really got deep enough on NQ, but maybe it's not going to give it to us on the Qs with relative strength. But we did feel that move, or most of that move, down towards 60. Where it stopped at 68, so missed it by 10 points. Maybe it can still come a bit lower. It can come even lower than that if it lets go of this block. if we think about this move, somewhere into these areas would be beautiful. But we would need a pattern to get bullish. I'm not just going to buy a dip here. It has to show me something. Very, very easily roll over here. If this is a back test of supply and it can't build out liquidity, if you're looking left on the M5, if it can't build out liquidity, if it's going to fail, if that's an H1 drive up clear out, can pull very, very deep. We have left point of control at the low of day. If we sit here for long enough, we will probably flip that point of control up here if we build enough volume. Can the Qs get going here? Is it going to play a flag out? Yes, it looks very, very messy on the M5. I'm watching it. Just stuck at midpoint now. So 11 minutes until the initial balance is printed. Just got to be cautious here that we haven't created the IB high of the day and we're going to go back into a rotational mode. Very much like yesterday until we eventually broke out. Can the ES get through this M5 wick test? That's the question. Can it drive back up to 80 and reclaim it? If it does that, maybe the Qs can get some strength for momentum upside. Remember, if this fails, it can come all the way down into this range that we created this morning. So what it's what the ES is already trying to do. It's trying to back test this range. It's already back down much, much deeper. So no clear break above and hold above 780 on the ES, that key level we keep talking about. Would I prefer upside? Absolutely, I'd prefer upside today if it can create some nice liquidity here. Sellers coming into the VIX now. If VIX can make a new low of day, maybe we can have a run up here in the market. It's very, very tight. So I want to see if the VIX plays out a bear flag here for a drop down underneath 2150. All right, that's probably current line of the sand. That would take you down to 2120, and then that failure of that will take you back down into 2060 from yesterday. If it keeps holding here, then the market like this might get heavy. So just being patient. There's no real trade in here. All right, this is very, what is this? This is nothing. All right, just be patient. All right, it will either do this, or it'll come down here and offer a trap, or it'll come down here, fail, and start grinding down. Don't force your hand in here. Each of these candles is just moving 20, 25 points, enough just to piss you off without momentum. So here's the dig deeper now. So if you're looking at the volume profile on the day, we are pretty thin until we get back to that 2115 and point of control 20,085. Because like I said, this was a squeeze up. There's not a lot happening in here. It's just a straight squeeze. Going to require some patience for sure. I'd say sort of 2185 might trigger the squeeze for a new leg here. For the top of this flag, right? So around here, 85, it can start getting through that. Maybe it can come and run these up for a squeeze. We're still just inside the last few days balanced range and the last few weeks balanced range. So no breakout buys in the market yet for that move up. We're in a mean reversion market right now, hence the inside bars and chop. And finally, overnight, we hit that 20-day. If we let go of that 20-day and the 5-day crosses it, we open the gate for a test of that lower Bollinger Band. You think the stream's lagging? Shouldn't be lagging 2 to 3 minutes, Jerry. Should be a number of seconds. Let me know if there's a problem with the stream though. Anyone else in chat? So looking for this test here. Can they cause this squeeze? Okay, thank you for confirming, Nate. Perfect. So VIX testing that low of day. Can the market get a squeeze? I'm interested in trying to take this long. I'm just waiting to see if it's really going to trigger here. ES looking much better. Looking good. Can we hold, or is this going to trap and fail? This is the question. Looks like a sweep so far. Very tricky here. No close above yet. Keeps trying, but no close above yet. VIX still at that low of day, that 2150 key on the VIX. Remember, the initial balance is going to be set in 1 minute's time. The danger here is that you get trapped inside an initial balance rotational day. You don't want to really be buying the IB high, all right? You want to be buying a break above the IB high and a pullback into it. That's the only danger here, is time. And buyer on the book down at 112. So he's looking for that deeper pullback we talked about where we broke out from. I'm going to be hands off here and wait for that IB to be set. Next 15 seconds. What is tricky now is that IB is going to be set right next to those daily levels, not leaving a lot of room for upside. So new H1 bar in 30 minutes. We now have the initial balance set. ES nowhere near its IB high, a good 5 points off it. Are we now going to do it? There you go. It's clear out into the initial balance high here. Can they create a new high and base above? Can the ES get going? Can the VIX drop below that 2150? VIX now starting to fail below it. Release testing. Very, very tight here and very, very tricky. See, those refresh sellers came in at that initial balance high. So this is what I was talking about. Due to timing, it becomes difficult. ES not through that 780. It's been a wall for weeks now. It's been a big, big over under level. Was looking to get involved there, but didn't. Did take one scratch trade attempting it first time for break even. Very tight. We said it might need to build up some liquidity and take time to do this big head and shoulder or cup and handle on the H1 and the M5. And it is definitely taking its time now. It is definitely building a shelf. Cannot get going here. Yes, just can't get through that 80. VIX soaked off that IB low again. Needs to push now if it's going to push, otherwise there's a bigger flush coming in here potentially. Trying to build that micro flag. It doesn't look good to me though. It's an unwillingness to go higher, and it's being caused by the ES here. Here we go. Now can it go? Need to see this just break straight through the 200. 200 is going to be key here. Can it break through 200? There we go. Now we're getting the squeeze. Beautiful, beautiful move. There we go. Now we're getting the squeeze up. So micro playing out here. Right, had to wait for that to build out. Now the question is, can we build above the IB high for continuation? So if you're in this, hold some runners. Scalping some out here myself. I want to see ES participate in this though. If ES keeps failing that 780 and the initial balance high and it can't get there, I'm going to be very worried about failed auction here. So this white line here is your previous day open, all right? So you must consider these. Previous day open, previous day high. You're into daily levels here. Beautiful trade, finally playing out. We got something. It took a little time. We got something. So tap into this previous day open here. All right, closing the gaps. SPY with a while to go to close the cash gap. Qs are pretty much there, all right? Qs are pretty much there, closing that cash gap for the new week opening gap. It's got to trade up to technically 8743, and we just hit a high of 8735. So Qs have pretty much closed that cash gap. The SPY has not, all right? The SPY has a way to go. Another $1, almost $2 left on the SPY for the cash gap closure. All right, so if we hold the initial balance high here, we are expecting a trend day, all right? If we are holding this, we expect trend day. If we fail down, we're expecting a rotation back towards VWAP, from IB high to VWAP. Couldn't be clearer here on what we're looking at. You have a very clear two possible setups. That's what you need to be looking for. Like I said before, about 20 minutes ago, so the hardest thing today is that if we're looking for continuation, we have these daily levels pretty close. It'd be really nice if these daily levels were up here. That would be really, really nice, because it would give us room for upside. It's unfortunate that we printed the IB high so far up. If we printed that IB high at like 160, it would have given us like an 80-point run into the previous day open. That would have been perfect. Gives you really good risk reward. What's tricky here is it's very, very tight between daily levels and IB high. And if you have a failed auction here, you have to be careful. Again, ES did not take out its initial balance high. Still has not got a closure above that 780. So for now, scalp mode until it proves otherwise. I would say very, very cautious if it starts to let go 160, 150, because this was a squeeze. So this here is thin. So if we start to roll, it will reprice this very quickly. But momentum is upside, all right? You're in a bullish trend. We're holding the flow zones. Flow zones held really well. Like I said, we had to wait for this. Look at this little down close candle. We had to wait to reprice this, and then the microstructure came in here. Maybe we get another one coming up. Moves are not big today, all right? The moves off these are not big. And it's just because of the daily levels above us. We're not giving ourselves a lot of room for upside expansion. If we get through these daily levels, that's a whole different ball game then. Right, then we can think about where we're going to target. If we get through these daily levels, through 6-7 opens the gate to 334, 390, and the top Bollinger Band here at 88. All right, basically 500. So there are upside if we can get through daily levels. My wife just bringing me my coffee, very much needed this morning. Feeling tired. Definitely notice my fatigue is way more from doing the streams than it is just trading my own book. Is anyone still in this, or did anyone capture some of that for the upside? We said that 85 would be key right here. Right, this was the trigger. I kept talking about it. 85, said it over and over again. Beautiful. That's the squeeze. Small plays, not ideal. Nice, Candy Cane. Good work. Nice to see some people on stream making money. Love to see you guys making money. So ES still rejecting that 80. Okay, it's why I'm always looking left here. So I'm just interested. I've got ES and VIX there, and then I've got QQQ and SPY there. So I'm looking at the cash gaps on the ETFs, and I'm looking for relative strength, relative weakness, and I'm looking to see if there's ever a divergence. Would love to have a trend day at some point. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? We've been in a rotational market for so much of the last few weeks. Can we get going here? ES looking good now. Can it get above this 780 and hold? 3 tests there on the 10-minute. I want to just see it go, really. You want to be very careful if this cannot hold. A very clear neckline down here. Till then, you should be staying bullish, right? Till then, you should be staying bullish. we go. Looks like this flag wants to go again for a new leg. Yes, now 81.25. Can it clear out? That's the question. Can it clear out? Don't want to see refresh sellers coming back in here. Just want to see it clear out and rip to the upside. Open the door for the NQ to get through that previous day open and come and look for previous day high. Well, I tried to buy that and didn't get filled. That's how quickly that went. I attempted to buy that and could not get filled. It just went straight without me. Okay, so ES running all those stops now. VIX now failing. Look at that VIX move. It moved instantly from 21.50 down to 21.17. It was very quick, Candy Cane. It was very quick. I was looking to fill on dips and it just couldn't. It was really close and just couldn't pick me up. So be it. So be it. What a beautiful move there. It shows how many stops got triggered there. Lots of people trapped there. So momentum now upside. Now you have previous day high as your potential target. Okay, next level for SPY and the ES, be looking for a move into 800. That's its previous day open into 800. Thank you, Nigel. Very kind of you. Yeah, hopefully we'll start picking up some numbers eventually once people understand. What I try and do more than anything is give value so that you understand why the market's doing what it's doing and where it can potentially target. Trying to sort of teach as I go, which is probably why I get a bit more tired than most streamers who are probably just trading what they see and sharing after the fact. But at least I'm trying to get you guys involved so you can read the price action in front of you. Even if you didn't get that trade like me, I didn't get it, didn't get the fill, but I gave you a good thesis of what it's trying to do. That's great, Jason. Thank you very much. Thank you, unknown caller. Very kind. So need to be careful here if it's a clear out for failure, but so far we are in what? We are in trend day up, all right? We're above the initial balance high and we have multi-time frame upside. So if you peep now the dailies, let's move you back over to these, all right? Now we have that upside potential. So through previous day high opens the gate into 20,340, let's call it, through there, potentially to the Bollinger Band. I'm not convinced we do that today, but I'm not saying we can't, all right? The NQ will do whatever it wants. We just got to be here to join a little bit. If it's a clear out, all right, same rules apply. Clear out, you would need it to fail way down under here and neckline still here. Until then, you are thinking of bullish above the initial balance high. But we have just taken out a big target. A big target was this previous day open. That's why this stop run was very aggressive. You had lots of daily guys there. 1, 2, 3. I'd say you had at least 3 days worth from yesterday, from Friday, and some from Tuesday, all their stops there. So swing shorts. Remember what I said about all those people taking puts into the weekend? There was a huge amount of put buying into the weekend. Lots of people got short seeing that. For me, that was nothing more than a hedge. Yeah, well, there you go, legal immigrant. There was no failure of the IB high. It was dancing around, but there was no clear failure. So whatever we want to do, whatever our impulse is, you have to ignore it. You have to do exactly what the chart is telling you to do. Just have some defined rules. Okay, so more upside potential here. So can ES come into 800, right? That's basically the question here. NQ testing that previous day high now, all right? That's previous day high now taken out. So that red line, we've just wicked it. Next level, top of range on the hourly, I would say would be into that sort of 340 area, all right? It's gray box on the hourly. You see this here? Gray box in the hourly. Might want to trade into that. An old point of control we have up here, Yeah, it's pretty much 40. So that is the next place the market might want to go to if it's going to have continuation upside. Yeah, it's looking good now, 795. So 5 points away from its 800. Through that, it would do a move to previous day high like the NQ has. It would do the same move. So this flag here played out, didn't give you much to get involved in, quite extended away from the flow zones, all right? So when it's extended, I like to try and wait when I can. Especially when we've just taken lots of liquidity. Remember, we took this, and we took this. If we're going to be in a range today, it's going to fail some point soon and come back down, right? If the market's decided it doesn't want to go any higher and it wants to stay in a range and its job was just to take the liquidity, all right, and close that gap, new week opening gap, then it's going to come and trade back inside. Big ifs, but you have to be aware of them. Yeah, ES has pretty much closed that gap now. It's that 4 o'clock close. 7250. Yeah, we closed it. All right, so cash gaps have been closed now. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, there is a video. There's 2 videos for free on my YouTube, which you should check. One is, I think it's called cash gaps, and the other is just like gap and goes or daily gaps. So worth checking those. So we've fulfilled our obligation in closing the cash gap from Friday 4 o'clock close into Monday open. All right, we left that gap open yesterday on that sell. We never closed it. We've now closed it. So we've repriced and rebalanced it. So if that is the job of the market today, if its main priority today was to close that gap, it's fulfilled that. So now we have to see, is there upside potential left in the market? What are the targets? And to get to those targets, do we need to retrap shorts? Because we know the moves today have been violent in terms of squeezes. All right, if we come up here, this move right here was intraday shorts getting blown out, and this move here was probably more like swing shorts getting blown out. So if you're new to the stream, I look forward to trading with you more. Hopefully you come here every day. I'm here every day from 10 o'clock market time into lunch. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, if it all feels a little bit too much, I do have a 20-hour course on sale right now. Links down below. Code YouTube, one-time fee, you get the course, and you also get the indicator on the chart, right? This is my custom flow zone indicator. Right, everything on the chart is one indicator. And it will provide you signals when the market is moving. We had a nice buy signal this morning. So right now we're in pro momentum trend upside, but we have taken liquidity. It's important that you understand that. Well, that's good, Jason. That's good, Jason. Can I ask where were you trading before, or is this brand new to you? I'm always interested to see what people watching where they've come from, what they do. No judgment at all. I'm just interested. We all have our own journeys. All brand new. Great. Fantastic. Just looking at like old highs, we might be able to go and attack here. So I'm looking at October 2nd. its old high and October 1st, around those areas right now. Does it want to do it? It's very steep here. Even on a 15-minute, we have a very, very steep accelerated move up. The hourly chart shows exactly the same thing. It's a steep accelerated move up. So the question is, where do we form a handle? Right, so even on this, if I just get rid of point of control for a minute, if we're going to think about, remember this morning I was talking about this move, which we've now done. If we're going to think about doing the same up here, all right, remember we said these were the targets, these stops. If we're going to base here, top of this box is the next zone, and then these wicks up here, okay? So, but we have to base. If it's just going to keep screaming up, it's going to be very hard to join that, isn't it? Because the base is all the way down there, and then we become very, very extended on a trend. So what we would like to see is some form of basing action. All right, something to risk off if we're going to continue to get long. I'll pull this over because I'm going to need this. And this for me has probably flipped blue now. Can move it down here. It's where we broke out from, so just readjusting levels. So once we flip through supply and the sellers are out, comes demand. I expect these areas to have buyers back in them now. And our point of origin where we broke out from, I can just do this intraday, is down here. So again, the same things are applying. Right now I'm thinking, can we set a trap up, 2 leg, reclaim and go higher? If we're just going to fail this, it might reprice this whole squeeze candle. Remember, there were no buyers in here. This was a stop run, right? No one was adding. Buys would probably down here. This was a stop run of swing shorts. It might want to reprice that into the initial balance high. Then we have to respect that initial balance high. Do we hold it or not? If we don't hold it, like I said, if the objective was to fill the gap and we trade back inside here, you need to be careful of that liquidity being used for downside pressure. JP, my beginner playlist is very good, easy to watch and learn, appreciated. That's great news. Thank you, JP. Yeah, I try and make it easily digestible. I know a lot of what I'm saying can come across as jargon on the screen. Okay, so if you are brand new here, like Jason, you're brand new here. Not sure why the YouTube algo brought me here, but I'm glad. Nice. If you're brand new here and you're interested, Jason, I do have a lots of free education on YouTube for anyone that's joining. There's a playlist on there. There's also a beginner course on there. I think it's like an hour or 2 hours long, all for free. And then if you like that and like how I teach, you can, and you want to learn more, there's no pressure. If you want to learn more, you can always do the course. Great, that's awesome, Jason. Well, hopefully you've got the bug. Okay, so waiting now to see, like, do we set some kind of trap into this imbalance, like a 2 leg or a W, something very similar to what we did over here, right? Same pattern applies. But I would like to see that imbalance at least partially filled and see some buyers step in. And then I'll join late, right? I'm not going to just try and buy down here. I want to see a reaction where I know more shorts get caught in. Otherwise, if you're add, and it flushes and wants to dive lower after filling the big gap that we talked about, you're going to be in pain. Right, so don't buy into weakness. Wait to see the reaction. Sellers on the book now. I'm just looking for new levels. Right, we have a seller above 20,075. He's got 113 contracts there. Then there's another seller just above him into 90, 50. Well, yeah, 50 odd contracts, and then still that seller at 300 and at 312. Downside buyers, not a lot on the book, right? That guy at 20,100, he's left. He's left the book. Right, so he probably pulled that order and started bidding up on that squeeze up, it looks like it, because he pulled that order just before this move here. So he probably just came straight in here and joined that squeeze up. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, if you're learning, do me a favor, share this with your friends who are interested in trading futures. Let's grow this page. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. It doesn't cost you anything and it really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Here every day, 5 days a week, trading at least 2 hours. But we need to practice patience now, okay? We need to practice patience. Hopefully some of you got that trade that I was calling and just couldn't get filled under here, unfortunately. And then when I wanted to mark it in, it was gone. It was already gone. Thank you, unknown caller. Thank you very much. Everyone smash that like button. Does me a massive favor. So did we sweep that? Yes, we did sweep that internal stop run here. I quite like that here. So if it now pivots, same thing, probably start firing above sort of 50, 55. Again, watching that ES to try and get some confluence here. Don't want to just get stuffed up here and use this to go lower. This is going to be key. Can it pivot above? ES approaching 90. Just trying to do it. Not got above it yet. It's very, very close. Yeah, that's exactly it, Jason. Price is always in an and or an if or situation. So it's never one bias. It's always if it does this, it will do this. If it does this, it will do this. Or should do this. And then it's just managing your risk accordingly. So VIX trying to have a drive back up here to test its IBL. Looking better here on the Qs. Remember, the main issue on the Qs is it's already filled that gap. That's what's making it a little bit tricky right now. But it is starting to look better here, just like we talked about, for that potential squeeze up. Very, very tight. Can they soak it? No big push here. It would have been nice if that last candle really went for it. Yes, right at that 90 level. That's the same kind of trigger as we're looking at here into 50s and 55s. Still no base and hold above. So it's flicked up into it, run some stops, not got that closure above. So just got to be patient here. Maybe it needs to do that deeper pullback like we talked about into these levels, right? Fill this gap. Then we would have this move here. If it doesn't do that, if it just continues to curl, it's just gonna maybe grind and it's gonna do a very similar move to it did earlier. You're gonna have to be very aggressive with your stops because you're effectively buying high if it does that. without a trap really being set. Looking at like a 15-minute chart, I'd really like to see a much deeper pullback today to lay a trap in. It's this level here, 200 odd, yeah. What time scale am I using? On this chart you're looking at here, do you mean, Eva? This is a 1 minute chart. Don't have to use 1 minute, you can move it to a 2 minute, whatever you're comfortable with. But I'm using lower time frame chart here, then underneath I have a 5 minute, and then I have an hourly and a daily, and on my monitor here I've got a 5 minute, a 15 minute, and the chart I'm executing on. And then over here I have 10-minute charts when I'm looking at the VIX, the SPY, the QQQ, and the ES. No problem. But if this is too messy for you, all right, just move to a 2 minute and clean it up. I only have it on a 1 minute because we did a vote on stream a couple weeks ago and everyone wanted a 1 minute chart, so we put it on a 1 minute chart. So a bit of hesitation in the market here because it's fulfilled its obligation of filling that gap, but we are in a trend day up. So the market wants to move higher, but it's already filled one of its obligations. Is it always better to wait for imbalances to come back and fill before rejoining the trend? Well, Michael, ideally, yes, but not all imbalances will get filled. And the other thing to be aware of, like if they flip this here and they run lower, then we get that move back down. So there's always if-or situations. You can also think about it from a fib point of view, right? So from this breakout to this drive up, we almost tagged this 61, right? I think you're doing the course, I think, right? So we almost came into this golden zone, right? So this move here and a reclaim would be nice. We won't always get it though. The market will do what it wants. But yeah, ideally you want at least partial fills on these. When you get big moves like this, which is stop runs, basically it leaves an air pocket in the market. So the market wants to try and fill that air pocket before going up, right? Fill the structure before going up. What I'm very cautious about is this right here. We've left one here. Potentially, if we roll over, we'll use it for downside back to the IB. The reason I'm more worried about that is because we've filled that cash gap. I would prefer to see upside pressure, but I just don't want to be buying right at high of day, right? Don't want to be buying right at high of day, but this is looking good here and here. But you've got tight risk reward here, right? You're probably a 1-to-1 rather than like a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 up here. Yeah, no, unknown caller, I know what you mean. 2 minutes often a bit smoother, right? Just a little bit less noise, a little bit easier to see the structure. 1 minute loves to wick you out, and 2 minutes nice and smooth right now. And it still holds, still respects the flow zones. Even 3 minute is fine. You just got to remember, as you move up the time frames, as you go 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute, 5 minute, when you're risking those swing points, it's probably getting bigger in terms of point size, right? So you're probably going from risking like 10 points to like 20, 30 points, 40 points, etc. So you have to size down. Yeah, awesome, Michael, awesome. So there are a lot of stops sitting here, I would say at like 29.30, right? This sort of double bottom here. It might want to come and sweep those out. Right, make sure the buyers lose. So the buyers who are buying here, risking here, it might want to come and take them out. And then maybe it returns back in if we're lucky. Maybe it does nothing. So yeah, still at that 90 level. Nothing's changed here, and I've been commentating for like 20 minutes, but that's because we've been here for about 20 minutes. Nothing has changed. Watching this hourly candle right here, if it's going to base above those key levels where we had supply, or if it needs to do a deeper pullback. Definitely wants to get going upside, but the problem is, are enough shorts trapped, right? So to move upside, you need shorts trapped, because like me, people don't really want to be buying high of day. So we move up when shorts are trapped and we trigger their stops. So now it needs to trap intraday shorts. So if they were short in the market right now, you'd have stops here and stops here. Ideally, it gives them another reason to go down, and they add for the breakout lower. Short, 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 and then we turn and squeeze them. And then they go cover, 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 they trigger the squeeze to here, cover, 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 they trigger the squeeze to here, cover, 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 and we are joining this momentum. I won't be buying it dropping down. I'll be waiting to see how it reacts. SPY is trying to base above. It is looking good here, SPY, after that gap fill. 73.39 is an old wick. I'm just marking all these out. Anyone joining, if you're wondering why I'm looking at the SPY and the QQQ, I'm checking the cash gaps on them. All right, I'm interested where traders who are trading options and cash are participating rather than just the overnight sessions. All right, when you're looking at Asia and London, yes, it has importance. Of course it has importance, but when you look at the volume, no one is really trading those sessions. All right, so for me, where traders and hedge funds are trading cash, and options where they're hedging against it happens in New York, which is why I check the ETFs. It just makes it really easy for me to quickly glance and see what we're doing. Okay, so this can trigger stops, right? 2030. So can we duck underneath that, grab some liquidity trade inside, or do we stay heavy underneath it? Remember, a failed auction will be if this liquidity gets used and we come back under this here, and then you have a potential rotation. If it wants to do this, it has a long way to go down. For now, we're above initial balance. So for me, initial balance rules apply. We're looking for longs in the market. So I'm looking for traps above the initial balance. If we start to fail that initial balance, I will consider a failed auction and a rotational market where I'll start thinking about potential shorts back into VWAP and lower. Again, this was the target. We talked about it. It's made the target. It's done the first target. That's the key thing here. So here's your first stop run. So does it steal liquidity now? Here and trade inside. Right, because lots of breakout shorts will be joining here. If it trades back up, they're going to get trapped. If it continues lower, then they're going to make some money. Remember, this is the imbalance all the way down pretty much to the IB low. Yes, exactly, Nigel Clark. That's exactly the same as what I'm looking at on the SPY. Basing on the IB high from Monday. So remember, we're still inside, all right? We're still inside on the daily. All the time we're inside here, down to here. All right, this is an inside bar, inside yesterday, and that's actually inside the day before's range as well. All right, so we're inside Friday and Monday range still. Always good to zoom out and just remind yourself where you are on those higher time frames. The last 2 hours on the H1 were pretty much straight up, so it can get pretty thin. If it can't hold 200, it can get pretty thin. What? Why is that, Nigel? Because I called you Nigel Clark. Is that why? I think it's good to have your name. That's fine. It's better than having, like, I don't know, Super Troll 2024 or all these other people. It's fine to have your name. What I'm interested in is, where is everyone tuning in from? Where in the world are you right now? Are you in Europe? Are you in the UK? Are you in America? I'm in America for those joining. I'm in Los Angeles right now. It's 8:15 in the morning. Salt Lake City, Tyson, nice. Yorkshire, love it. Yorkshire. Wales, where in Wales are you? Norway, amazing. Look at all these European traders, love it. Tuscan, Brazil, Marco, amazing. Geneva, Sacramento, near Aberystwyth. Yeah, I know it. My brother-in-law went to university there. Panama, all these international people, absolutely love it. So testing that previous day open, that white line, filling that imbalance, looking to see how we react. Jen, now in Thailand. I absolutely love Thailand. Las Vegas, David, nice. Where are you in Thailand, Jen? Are you on one of the islands, or are you in the mainland? You don't have to say, of course, if you don't want to. So filling some of this imbalance, coming down towards that initial balance high. So now we need to see how the market reacts. Do we lay a trap here, or are we going to fail the auction above after completing the gap fill? Is this going to be liquidity used to go lower, or are we going to do this move here? It's really simple. Those are the two options that the market has. Kansas City. Did you watch the game last night, David? Nice, Jen. Yeah, I've spent a bit of time there. Katao, Kasumi, Bangkok. I know Ryan in chat goes there a lot. He's a professional fighter. He goes there for MMA. Illegal immigrant, undisclosed location. I love it. Okay, so pulling back into this level we talked about, all right? So it's filling the imbalance now. There's your imbalance fill. Right here, or if you let me draw it. Right, so there's the imbalance fill. There's your deep pullback flow zones. There's the initial balance high. So do buyers step back in here? Is this a 1-2 leg for a reclaim? We fail that initial balance and we drive back inside, we're going to use the liquidity to the left that we talked about earlier, failed auction, and it might use this to come deeper. Right, so this becomes a very key level now for the remainder of the day, not just for now, for what type of market we are in. All right, if we're going to stay in a range rotational market, we're going to trade back inside the initial balance and just chop around the rest of the day. Maybe come and revisit some of these areas down here. Make sure my view up's on. Yeah. Yeah, Phuket. I've never actually been there, Ryan. I haven't been to Phuket. I'm looking to see if buyers come back in on the tape here or not. We have a buyer down at 175, 160 odd orders. That's a deep pullback if it's going to do a move like that. Very deep. I'm watching for a two leg here. I'm watching for a potential trap. That's what I'm looking for first. If it comes inside the initial balance, then I'll consider looking for a short rotation. Like I said, this imbalance here played out. This was the one, the inverse, which I was worried about after taking out this gap. Fill in the gap, use this inverse to trade lower. That was the one concern I had up here. It seemed to play out. So maybe could have flipped short here, but it goes against the rules that I have when we're in bullish. Even though that was possible, lower time frame pullback short made sense. We were looking at a two leg, so it made sense to trade that to here. Just not a trade that I looked to take, but it made sense. Yeah, I haven't done PP either in Thailand, Ryan. Need to get back out there. Need to get back out there. I really want to do Vietnam as well in the next few years. So you'll notice these flow zones are flipping red on the 1 minute. On the 2 minute, they're probably not yet. So it's probably just a 1 minute, yeah, just a 1 minute turnaround. So a little bounce here. Can buyers come back in here for a really big drive up? That is the question I'm currently asking. Looking very good here for that. Can it get through the momentum and drive back up towards high of day? Beautiful. This is beautiful. This is the type of move. Okay, so I'm selling a little bit here. Took some longs in that engulfing candle, protecting myself a little bit here. I don't want to see a reflush, just want to see a straight squeeze up. If it doesn't do it, I'll just take it off because this is an early trade based on what? Based on this. All right, here's your engulfing move. Now really want to see that. So I'm in long from 29.25. I can show you right here. I'm in long from 29.25. Trimming a little bit more here. I've moved my stop to break even where that wick is. I don't care if it takes me out, that's absolutely fine. Lovely. Can we move up now through this liquidity? All right, what I don't want to see is it reject here to come lower for a break of structure. What I want to see is a reason to continue to get long. Hopefully this makes sense to some of you. All right, it's an early trade, but it's because we held the IB high, we've refilled that imbalance, we're holding the deep pullback, we're holding previous day open, and I was looking for the trap. I kept saying I'm looking for that trap. I've trimmed my size right down now, locking in profits, but I'm happy to re-add if we can re-trap shorts here. So if we squeeze up, create a right shoulder, and retrap the shorts, we're going to go again. Remember, I couldn't have been clearer. 2-leg pullback to trap shorts under this. If as long as we hold the initial balance, I'm thinking about long structure back upside. Even now, I've protected, even if it wants to move lower, right, I've protected some of my gains into this area. Ideally, it retraps with the creation of a right shoulder to go higher here. And if it doesn't, and it knocks me out on my runners, that's absolutely fine. I've moved my runners up into the money now. VIX now 21.30. Can VIX bear flag and break down here? I'm very close to getting stopped out on my runners here. I'm on that candle closure open on the 1 minute. Basically at 33.50s. I tagged out on the runners, so that's fine. There we go. So if it's going to do break of structure, downside here, like we talked about, I've protected. I've made sure I'm protected. What I didn't want to see was a continuation trade down. Right, so now that if they're going to target a break of structure, they're going to come down here. Shorts will get stuck if they don't get a break of structure of this low. All right, that's where they get stuck. If they do not break 11s, they will get stuck. That's what they're looking for. They need a break of structure to cover into. But that was quite a strong candle down there, which is why I moved my stop up. If you just think about what we're doing right now, we're trapping between two zones. If we go to slightly higher time frame, this is an M5. Right, this is where we failed. This is where we found buyers. So what I'm hoping for is to find buyers here. That's what I'm looking for, this kind of pivot. If we're going to reject this and get a break of structure, we're going to fail through the initial balance, and we might reprice this level here. So those are the two options right now in my head that I'm thinking about. Again, I just locked in on that and it's fine. Still got 35 minutes until lunch. Still trading inside the last 2 days range. All right, we're still trading inside the last 2 days range. So definitely a see money, take money environment. Potential break of structure coming for downside here. So that sell signal's come on the M1. It won't be coming on anything else right now. And you don't just take it because it prints a sell. You have to have thesis and structure and rules. So for me, we're still above this. ES looks pretty good here. Don't like that it double bottom there, didn't even take it out. I think that's even different on Ninja. 11, 13. Not even matching on Ninja, that's not good. I never understand that. It's a few times happened recently where Ninja's printing a different price, or our traders printing a different price to TradingView. There's no reason for that to happen. They all have Centralized data from CME exchange. There should never ever be a different print on futures. It's not like trading Forex. It should always be exactly the same print. So it's left some liquidity here now. Dubious about why it's left that. Probably wants to come and take it. Yes, retesting that shelf that it broke down from. So on an M10, basically 88. So you're still basically looking something like this. This is current channel. This for me is buying continuation until proves otherwise. Right, because it's the same as this and this, right? Strong leg up, pull back, leg up, pull back, leg up, pull back. So really, I'd want to see expansion. Thinking about rejoining here if we start to show willingness to trade higher. Very cautious about buying high of day, but if we're starting to show a willingness to trade higher, I'm thinking about joining here if I can find a good pivot, a good risk reward, a good reason to get involved. Here's an 88 test, 88.75 now on the ES, 89, 89.25. Can it break out at 90? Come and test those top wicks into 95. If it does that, it's going to be the flag play, and we're going to get continuation, or should get continuation on the Qs, as long as they're not exhausted. Mag 7 still all green. Very tight here. Don't want to get trapped buying high. So one thing I don't want to do today after we've filled that gap, I do not want to get trapped buying high. Easiest trade was the trade I missed, the trade I talked about but couldn't get a fill. This trade here, because we had clear target. This is really nice risk reward. Just don't like these down here. It's the one thing. 12s. The Dixie trading at 102. I mean, let's have a look. It is flagging up there, isn't it? Up to 102.70s. Zoom out higher time frame here. Well, Dixie's coming up to supply. If you go to like a 4 hour, so Dixie right now is basically going to trade between 103.5 down to 101.9s. Just looking left. yeah, it can still reject here on the Dixie and go lower in the next couple sessions. So not overly concerned. But I see what you're saying. Since that pivot it put in on, well, really last week, that low, 100 and pretty much 100 flat, 100.2, and then did that breakout of 101.85, 101.90s. What about week BTC? Let me have a look, BTC. I mean, Bitcoin I wouldn't say is weak. It's basing. It's basing in a daily flag. It did the big pullback we talked about a long time ago in August and came and washed 50,000 into a daily buy block, daily demand where we broke out from. It's just in a flag here on Bitcoin. It's very similar. Like if Bitcoin traps enough shorts, it will use that liquidity to run higher. Yeah, but Bitcoin already did that deep pullback. Those of you who were here last year or earlier this year, when was it? Whenever we put in that high in Bitcoin, I was looking for a short rotation down to that daily order block, which we got. From that point, it was runners and a stop the rest out break even. There's no reason to be taking that right now. It's showing a willingness to base on Bitcoin. It's basically flagging on a daily near highs. So this channel's still holding here on the Qs. It is possible that, you know, the market's done what it wanted to do for the day. It is possible. Right, this was the high probability trade, was up into this red line that we talked about. Do not like I said, this resting liquidity here, I don't like. This would have been a better bullish move if it went and took this out, but it's just added more stops down there, which has me a little bit concerned. All right, so I'm flat at the moment. I was long for this squeeze up here, and I sold into this pop, and I was holding runners, hoping we'd do that, and it took the rest out. Just above break even, which is fine. Now we're just waiting. Stalking the market like a sniper, all right? Be a sniper. Don't get your machine gun out and start spraying everywhere and hoping you hit. All right, be a sniper. Just wait for the market to come to you and be in a perfect position, and then shoot and kill and move on. GC getting hammered. I mean, you're talking about higher time frame and not on the day really. It looks big, but I mean it's down 40 points, not bad. Again, like zoom out on gold on the daily, is all it's doing is coming in back testing where it found buyers. Right, so gold's going to trade back into 610 down to 588, and then it's going to see if those buyers who broke it out step in there. Its trend's still good as well. If you do a daily trend on gold, it's holding trend very, very well. Right, it's just a pullback here off the highs. It's to be expected. It's a healthy pullback, filling that imbalance on the daily, coming back down into a level it found buyers at. That's all gold's doing. Don't panic too much. If you've been long gold, I don't know where you're long gold from. If you were, Tomek, I wouldn't be having a big concern here because it's pulling back to check areas, right? Remember, the market needs to move up and down. All right, so all gold is doing right now, all right, gold's done this huge move up like this on a daily, and it's doing this, and all it's doing is checking this area here. If buyers step back in, it's going to go for rotation. If it fails that, then I'd be concerned. But on a back test, nothing would concern me right there. If you're swing long, I don't know what your position is, but still think gold has lots of upside room for a continued amount of time. But we'll see what Powell does. if they continue to hedge in it because they expect the market to get weak, the US market to get weak, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we get SPY new highs, NQ maybe not quite doing it, and a big rollover post-election. We're getting very close to election now. Traditionally, election years are very bullish. And also traditionally, once you start quantitative easing within a month, the market is very bearish. All right, so you've probably got a lot of fighting here in terms of seasonality. And once we get through that, we'll see what is what. But, you know, if you're trading here every day, you only need to trade a few minutes a day, make your 30, 40, 50, 100 points, move on. I like the long here, but I don't like that double bottom it's left. I really don't like that on the 1 minute chart. Basically 11, 211. I do not like that look. Otherwise, I would actually quite like the shape that we're trying to do of basing here, and a trigger above 43, might as well call it 50, triggers the squeeze out. Tomek, are you actually long in gold, like long term, or you were just saying like today it's getting destroyed? Roger that. Okay, yeah. Just looking to see the correlations in the market. Well, gold is correlated with the dollar, so it makes sense what it's doing. Market just stuck right now. After filling its gaps on the ETFs, it's just stuck. We are building a considerable amount of volume up here now, which always concerns me a little bit. It's fine if that volume is used for a base, but if we flip POC and we duck under it, all these buyers are going to get stuck. Sell marker on my chart. It's from the flow zones flipping to a bearish move, but I did talk about it. It's only done it on the 1 minute chart, right? So for me, I would take a sell here if we were looking at trend bearish. Ideally, if this sell was underneath the deep pullback and if we're underneath the IB high. Right, so I'm not really interested in what it's telling me unless it fits into how to use it. There are traders in the chat like Jerry who just take these signals, and I think he's got like a 70% success rate. So there was one earlier this morning, we had a buy signal down here, right? So buy signal, now we're flipping to a potential sell signal, but I don't like it just based on what the chart's telling me. So structure first, rules first, and then we can think about these. Yeah, you're welcome, unknown caller. So we'll always print you sell signals, pullback signals. Indicator will print everything, but you have to understand when to ignore them, when to use them. If you were selling here, right, your first target would be the deep pullback, then the initial balance, then the lower time frame algo, then the higher time frame algo. But right now we are in bullish consolidation. Feels like the market wants to make that move, but it is tricky. It is tricky. Let's have a look. Building up a lot of volume here now. Can we get that squeeze up and move? Yes, just tapping on the door of 90 over and over and over again, but just sellers keep coming up into that area. If it pivots through 90, it opens the door for that move. What's that first high? Through 91.25 and then into 95. Again, what I said, that those equal lows are ugly down there. Do not love that it's left that down there, but it hasn't done it on the ES. It's only done it on the NQ. We are pivoting above now. See how it's moved to a buy signal straight away? Forget unknown caller that was asking. That's why we don't take that sell signal. We're in bullish consolidation. You ignore sell signals in those consolidations, right? So this is your main guide up here. So that would be a counter trend sell down to the deep pullback. It's not worth any risk reward there to take. VIX trading back towards low of day here. I'm going to stay with you for like another 15 minutes or something. Into lunch, and then probably going to call it a day. So ES again can't get through 90. Tapping on the door over and over, cannot get through it, cannot base above it. If it gets through it, it opens the door for a squeeze up, but so far cannot get through it. It's having another attempt here, 88.50, 89, 88.50. It's just dancing between. It cannot get through it. They're refresh selling it over and over again. $89.25, $89.50. They're looking to pop it. $89.75. They want to pop it. They pop it. They open the door, but they've got to get through it with conviction. 90 now, tapping again. Same seller came back in again. Like I said, the one concern on NQ is that double bottom that it is left there on the 1 minute chart. I do not like that in that deep pullback flow zone area, but we are basing above this for now. So can we squeeze up here through 2045, triggers a move towards 60s, and that will open the door towards high of day and beyond, all right? Would be nice, wouldn't it? If we can get going, it would be nice. Again, ES cannot get through 90. The amount of times I'm watching this have an attempt. Finally through it. Can it base above it now? 90.75, 90.50, 91 now. Can it now turn on the squeeze for the last 15 minutes into a new hourly candle? Does it matter that price moves in a wedgie pattern rather than impulsive? Yes, it absolutely matters. Right, wedgie patterns are trapping. Impulsive is when you have a good, strong directional move. We're above 90, but there's no closure above it. I want to see it squeeze here. 91 now. Can it squeeze through 91 and just lift off? Look how tight it is. You can see it on the cues. They're reacting with it. Very tight level here. Retapping that 10-minute high. It needs to get through that to open the door. 92 will open the door to 95. Now we'll open the door to 800, previous day open, previous day high. Remember, we have SMT here in that NQ has already taken out the daily levels. ES has not, ES has not taken out the daily levels. Yeah, exactly what we talked about, Tomek. Exactly that. So much volume here that they've moved it up. It hasn't flipped on mine yet, but it will do any minute now. So back under 90 now. It's ugly, isn't it? It's very ugly when it does that. So remember, these are concerning to me, and we have some SMT. In that NQ is already taken out previous day high. ES has not done that. But it has filled its cash gap, I think. Triple check that now. So 4 o'clock close here. I'm going to check this. It has not filled its cash gap. Very close. Not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily mean they're building acceptance, because it's just volume. It doesn't mean it's buying volume, right? It just means it's building volume. So if it dives underneath this level, so you got value area high is moved up here. Point of control hasn't moved up for me yet, but for you it has, so it's going to move up very quickly. If we base above it, you can extend that value area high, right? We can have an auction above. But if it keeps failing and they're building selling volume here, the moment it breaks the shelf of that value area high, opens the door for a big move down. Now it's looking like it wants to go again. It's really, really tricky here. I just want to see this rip. It won't go. It's a good move here. Now we're going to trigger that squeeze potentially. Don't like how it's timing it with ES. There we go. Need pullbacks to soak into 40. They would need to soak 40 for that potential squeeze out. If they fail 40, that was it. It was a small stop run and it's probably done for the day. And ES still at 90. No worries, Tomek. Can we get a squeeze up? Can we get a squeeze up? Here we go, starting to go, come on. I want to see this just run straight through 60s. Need ES to get going. ES tapping on 91. Remember, through 92 will open the gate to 95s. There we go. Here we go. Come on. Get going. 350s, please. Need to get through that whole number. Psychological level, 250s. There we go. Can we get a closure through 250? So far, no closure through 250. 30 seconds left. Just want to see it extend then. fighting over pennies here, which is annoying. We want it to just rip through this level and go straight up to 60s. So that high, we've got a double pin here at 55. Through that should open the door to 62. I don't want to see them refresh, sell this all the way back down to 35s, which is what they might be about to do. Again, ES just cannot move. Volume is also dissipated here, and we're still inside. They're trying to get that move up, but it's really tough to get going here, fighting over very, very small range. Sellers on the book, like right here at 50, 60, 70, and 80, all with decent size. Looking at 50 to 100 lots every single leg up. $91.75 here on the ES. Can it squeeze through this? Open the door. Yeah, exactly. Open the door to 95. Keeps trying. Not in love with the reaction over and over again. Okay, so basically now you would need to see, you want to see this hold. Right, hopefully that makes sense. For a run back into here. So you have one level here and one level here. There we go. This is looking better now, much better now. I want to get going here because I really don't want to be scalping out for 5-10 points every time. This is not how I like to trade. Yeah, so now new bar here at 92, 92.50 here. So can we please get going, market? I had to take a partial on that move because it's just not showing me willingness to go with volume. If it stops me out now, so be it. I can always rejoin in. If it wants to come deeper down here, I'll think about rejoining. If it starts breaking some of this, I'm not going to touch it. All right, I've given it enough chances today to do this move. Starting to become tired in my head from trying it over and over again. I think this is third or fourth attempt we've had today in the longs. Here we go, now starting to go. So I'd like to see a move into 300 if we're going to pop all the stops. A big seller at 80. And then there's a gap really above him to 300. So basically high day. Stopped me out there. In the money though, stopped out in the money. But I'm just not willing to sit in this unless it's going to get going. Don't want to buy high of day and get washed out here like we talked about. Coming back to reprice that candle we just talked about. lack of liquidity here right now. Lots of volume, but no continuation. If it's going to hold these levels, then we have higher high. All right, if we're going from here to 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 here, would be nice. Again, this is not ideal for those who've traded with me a lot, who know how I like to trade. Really fighting over small moves here. This is not how I like to trade. I like to trade it when I can see a nice 100-point trade for me. Not looking at scalping 5-10 points over and over. But if that's how you like to trade, that's fine. It's not me criticizing, it's just how I like to trade. If you like taking 5, 10, 15, 20 points over and over and scalping out, that's absolutely fine. Great way to make money. Lots of people in my room do exactly that. So new hourly candle about to come here, all right? 45 seconds away from a new hourly candle. Value area high on the day is at 245-ish. We've popped those stops already, looking left from Friday. And the next area of upside would be to trade into 330s. I'm just going to wait for this new hourly candle. They might just run it up on that new hourly candle, or they might do a really nasty move over lunch. Who knows? Who knows? But we're going to wait for this new hourly candle in 5 seconds. See what we get. Right, so remember, this is what we're building up here. Building liquidity up here. I'm not really interested in the short till we get underneath this, personally. It's probably it done for me in terms of trading though. I've had a few attempts at this, scalped out a few small winners, nothing notable to talk about on the day though, unfortunately. There was a beautiful trade that we talked about, that big squeeze up. Hopefully some of you got it. I think some of you did get it. I didn't get the fill. I was waiting with a limit to get filled and couldn't grab it. And then by the time it went up, I definitely did not want to mark it in, because that big candle was 50 points and that happened in a number of seconds. So we're now building range up here, right? We're building range up here. I would stick with bullish momentum upside until it proves otherwise, all right? Respect the initial balance. Yeah, all right, you got that nice squeeze, good. Respect the initial balance, respect this. It's still holding the flow zones. It's still holding momentum to upside. All right, just respect the rules today and trade those rules, all right? Yes, now finally looking like it might want to go, just as I'm about to get off stream, which is always the way. Until tomorrow, please trade safe. Please use hard stops. Remember, you're only one headline away from a big move in the market. You've got to be using hard stops in this market and in all markets. Hopefully you enjoyed this stream. If you're new here, I really appreciate you showing up. If you're one of the regulars, thank you so much. I will be back at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Here's the flush. Until then, please trade safe. Don't forget all the links down below to my recommended prop firms, and of course you can do the course. Peace out.